Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and this is the, gosh, is it August already, 2013 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group Meeting. It's not as funny as the first time when I said it at the TABS Virtual User Group Meeting an hour ago, but it's still funny, especially for those of you that were not here an hour ago. And for those of you that weren't here an hour ago, I'm very nervous because I'm on my own today. Mary Jo is in South Bend, Indiana at a new PracticeMaster install. People that are converting from Time Matters, people that already had tabs in the accounting software but were nonetheless using Time Matters for practice management. They have seen the light and they are moving to PracticeMaster today. So I am your humble and only host, except for our humble and lovely moderator, Leanne, who's yawning in front of me and trying to see if she can yawn, and I can keep from yawning, which is very, very difficult. A little bit of housekeeping today. You have something on your screen that looks a little bit like this. This is our GoToWebinar control panel. It allows you to interact with our humble moderator, Leanne, and ask questions, but it also has a button here in the part that juts off to the left. It looks like arrows pointing to the right, and they are in fact arrows pointing to the right. Clicking that button, this is just a picture so I can't really do it, but clicking this button will cause this to slide out of the way. You will still have this little group of buttons showing, but this will then turn into a button pointing to the left, allowing you to slide this back into focus. Why would you do that? Because you're shy, but you have a question, and you want to type it here. You don't want to raise your hand, which we'll cover in a second, and talk live. You just want to ask your question here. So type it. Don't forget to hit the send button. Be sure to continue typing any follow-up questions as we get your question answered. When Leanne sees your initial question, she will wait for the opportune moment, interrupt me, ask your question on your behalf, and I will answer it. During that time, any follow-up questions at all, just type them here. Again, don't forget to hit send, and we'll be sure to get your question fully answered. Now, if you are not feeling shy, you can raise your hand. This is a hand with an arrow in front of it, which is pointing upwards, meaning, of course, raise your hand. Same thing will happen. Leanne will recognize that you have raised your hand. She will interrupt me at the opportune moment, but instead of reading your question on your behalf, she will unmute you, let you ask it. We will leave you unmuted until the question is fully answered, and then we'll mute you back up. So, well, we used to say so you can eat lunch, but it's a little late for lunch. Maybe you're having a snack. Nonetheless, we will mute you back up, and you can go on with what you're doing while you continue to pay stringent attention to our virtual user group meeting, which today is about adding an area of practice. And I guess in order to explain that, we're also going to explain what an area of practice is. And our second topic is using contacts for marketing, one of my favorite topics. We have several clients that are very, very into using the contact system within PracticeMaster to do all sorts of things, including marketing. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first and second, but I'm going to go first and talk about adding an area of practice. So here we are. We're in our client list. We've got different clients. And over here in blue, if you're using the original snapshot from PracticeMaster, you see a little note that indicates what area of practice this matter falls into. This client does not have an AOP assigned. This matter does not either. This one is litigation. This one is business law. And those are assigned over here. And it could be in a different place on your system. It's set up here. It could be on the address tab. You might have totally different tabs. As many of you know, PracticeMaster is extremely customizable, and some of our clients have done that. Some of our clients have had us do that, and some have not. So it's called Area of Practice. If you drop down this box, you're not going to hurt anything as long as you don't select something different. So you can drop down this box on an existing matter, and you can see all of your installed areas of practice. You've got your little shorthand code over here. You might remember that's what appeared on the snapshot when I was showing it to you. and you have your description. Okay? These, by the way, are different than billing category. Billing category is what is used in tabs. Area of practice is what is used in PracticeMaster. They do both show up on this screen. Imagine for a moment that you have one area of practice called litigation, but under billing category you might have medical malpractice, slip and fall, auto negligence, product liability. You may have things categorized that way so that your firm can produce, usually for the malpractice insurance carrier, a detailed list of the different areas you practice in and how much time is being spent in those areas. But from a management of the case standpoint, from a PracticeMaster standpoint, perhaps just the fact that it's business law or litigation or whatever is enough to get you to the right place. Now, what do these things mean? Why do we have these different things? Well, the things that you keep track of, if you're keeping track in PracticeMaster of some very finite, granular details, are going to be different from one area of practice to the next. My common example is, in a litigation case, you keep track of things like accident date, claim number, cause number, insurance information, if a citation was issued, who the issuing officer was, things like that that are related to litigation. Whereas if you're handling a domestic relations divorce case, you're going to keep track of a whole different set of stuff. You're going to keep track of spouse information, children, marital assets. These are the things that are important to you in that type of a case. And so the area of practice allows us to have different tabs for different types of law. Stock transactions, stock classifications, shareholders, partners, these are all things that are part of the business law area of practice. If I move on to the next case that's not business law, one that actually has an AOP assigned, here we go, real estate law, then we get into different things, property legal descriptions, settlement charges information, surveys, inspections, broker information. This is the stuff that's interesting and from a real estate standpoint. If we go to property legal description, we'll see the legal description. This one is pretty short. I know I've never seen a legal description that short, but this is just a sample system. But you get the picture. The things that you're keeping track of are going to be different for the different areas of practice. Now, that alone is worth the price of admission because some people don't know that you can do this, and some people don't know that in their PracticeMaster they have the ability to have different areas of practice defined and to have matters go into those different areas of practice. So that's important to know. One thing that I want to point out, it's no longer available, but there used to be something called PracticeMaster Basic. There is now just, and then the other was PracticeMaster Premier. Now it's just PracticeMaster, and Basic is kind of gone. Basic did not allow this. Basic did not allow you to have different areas of practice for different types of law. And you can tell what version you have by going to Help, About, and looking. I guess actually it's part of the serial number. Well, okay. Maybe it's not actually spelled out there, but if you have questions about whether you have Basic or Premier, you can certainly ask me, and I'll be sure to get that question answered for you. Now, this next part is a little nerdy. So sit back, don't worry too much about what's going on, but I want you to know how you can add a different area of practice. And I want you to understand a few of the things that apply here. Whether or not you're going to do them, or alternatively, whether or not you're going to have somebody else do them, that's entirely up to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to get out of this screen because we're going to go into file maintenance. And we cannot go into file maintenance when other tasks are active. So we're going to get out of here, and we're going to go back into file maintenance. You may have noticed that I just told it not to create a backup for me. Don't ever go into file maintenance without creating a backup. You can really mess things up in here. But by the way, you probably, if you don't have access to file maintenance, you probably have been secured out of it. In other words, if you try to go in, it's going to tell you access is denied. But just as a word of warning, don't come in here and mess around without knowing what you're doing. But that said, I'm going to add an area of practice. There we go. Clicking on this and adding a new area of practice. Now, when we expand this, we'll see all the different areas of practice, and we'll see all the files that apply to each area of practice. This is how PracticeMaster has been set up for you, and this is how it what usually has come out of the box. Perhaps it's been customized, perhaps not, but these files were probably already set up when you got it. Adding a new area of practice is as simple as doing this. I'm going to add an area of practice called condominium law. And so I'm going to give it a short name of condo and a long name of condominium. And I hope Sharon's not here because she works for a condominium law firm, and I think I'm spelling condominium wrong. Well, I don't hope she's not here. I just hope I'm spelling it right. Now, this name can only be 8 characters long, so you have to kind of abbreviate. This is your long name, and go ahead and let it just assign the document path and say OK. If it asks you if you want to create the path, say yes. We have just created a new area of practice called condominium law. If we come back out here and go in here and look at this, we now have condominium law set up. Now, we didn't add any files to it, any specific tabs. So if I take a matter and open it up, or perhaps take an existing matter, let's pull up this one for Paul Purdue. We're going to change the area of practice to condominium. I didn't get any extra tabs because I didn't set them up. So very quickly, we're going to save this. We're going to go back into maintenance, and we're going to add 1 or 2 files, probably just one. We're going to add a new area of practice file to condominium law, add new AOP file. We're going to call it units. Let's say